guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife video for you, and today I've got a first impressions on a knife that everyone has a first impressions of right now. I did want to let you guys take a look at this if you're not sick of looking at it yet, because every reviewer seems to have had this knife and has shared it with the community, but I haven't, so this is going to be my first impressions on the Massdrop Orca. All right, now this is, like most Massdrop knives, a combined effort between a couple of different people. So it is, of course, sold and marketed through Massdrop. It is built by Reate knives, and we're going to come back to that point in 1 second. And it's designed by Eric Orchs, based on his very popular custom knife, the Orca. So this is the Massdrop Orca based on the custom Orca. Pretty simple stuff. Now, what stands out to me about this is a couple of things. One, it's a Reate that's cost $200. Okay, normally, you're paying $350 to $450 for most Reate knives. Two, it's a Massdrop knife, collaboration knife, not built by We Knives. Now, We does a great job, but I really wanted to see how this was going to work out when they went with a different company. And Massdrop, they try to get that price down as low as they can. So I was curious, what kind of corners might be cut, or if it wouldn't be everything that I normally come to expect from Reate. And of course, this is just a first impression, so I can't really speak too much to that. But out of box, I got to say, I'm pretty impressed. The other thing that I have to say about this is I was really curious to see what Reate would do with a G10 liner lock. What's a Reate going to be like if it's not, a titanium frame lock with all these higher end materials? So that was the other curiosity for me about this knife. And it really, in addition to the design being very, very cool, and the fact that I loved this bronze hardware, I really like the aesthetics of this knife. Love those thick titanium liners. So those are the things that attracted me to this knife and really made me curious to go ahead and check this guy out. And I know that's a lot of introduction, but I think it's worth pointing all of that out. By the way, I will put a link to Massdrop in the description box. One nice thing about this knife is if you want one, you can actually buy one right away. And I'm sure this is the kind of thing where even if these do sell out, they're going to continue to be available moving forward. So go ahead, use the link in the description box, sign up for Massdrop and buy this knife. I don't, and I don't know how long that'll be possible, but for right now, you can just go buy one, okay? So moving on, now that we've got kind of the background out of the way and how to buy one of these guys, let's give a quick look about what you get. So up front here, we have an RWL 34 blade with a harpoon drop point blade shape, nice flat grind, stonewash on the main bevel as well as the flats. Notice though that satin finish up there on the top swedge, which is very attractive. I would have liked to see satin on both the bevels here, but that's okay. We've got what appears to be a pretty thin edge. Now, I know some of you are going to want to point out, but when you see a secondary bevel that's really, really small like that, generally that means a knife that's pretty thin behind the edge. It can mean it's sharpened at a really obtuse angle, but that's not what it normally means. Okay, now moving on to the rest of this stuff. This is a, hold on, I'll close it so you can see. This is a thumb stud or flipper deployed knife. Okay, titanium on the frame lock there, or on the liner lock. Nice accessible lock bar, comfortable flipper tab. And I've got to say the action here is pretty nice. I'm definitely, feeling like this is a Reate knife, which is one of the things I kind of had questions about, but I'm pretty comfortable with that. Moving on, we have G10. Now this is available in marble carbon fiber with a Mokutai clip instead, but like I've been saying, what was interesting to me was to see what Reate could do for $200, and I really like this overall styling, where I wasn't so sure how I felt about the carbon fiber styling, especially with the faux bolster. Something about that didn't work for me. The G10 with the full bolster somehow feels more natural or normal or something. All right, call me crazy. You wouldn't be the first one, but I feel like the G10 is the way to go on this guy, not only for the price point, but also for the overall look. And when I get to my final comments, there's one other reason I like the G10 here. Okay, so now that we've kind of run through the materials, oh yeah, titanium backspacers, titanium clip, and you can see again the very nicely, well, you can see if my camera would focus, you can see the nicely bronze anodized liners there, which I think is very, very attractive. Okay, now let's get into size and weight. 8 and 1/16 overall. It's actually just a hair over that. 3.5 inches on the blade, 4 inches 4 and 9/16, I'm sorry, on the overall handle area. Now the grip area was a tough one on this. When I hold this knife, I want you to look closely where my finger lands. See how my pinky's sort of up here? And it's fine, it's comfortable like that. I'm not complaining at all. But that meant when I measured grip area, I couldn't really just measure in here. I had to kind of include out here. So it's about 4 inches of grip area. If you have really large hands, this may not work for you. I think the other possibility is if your hands were just the perfect size, your pinky could land right here. Now mine doesn't, it lands back there, making this pretty comfortable. But if you had smaller hands than me, that could potentially be a problem for you. Weight on this guy is 4.8 ounces, which again, it's a little heavy for its size, but not unexpected given the amount of metal we have here and those really thick liners. And I love those thick liners. I really do, guys. I won't apologize for that. I am so happy to carry just a little extra weight to get that really nice thickness there. So no complaints from me on that front whatsoever. All right. Okay, so last thing I want to tell you about here is where this knife fits for me. What is my initial impression of this? Well, here's where this knife I think really, really shines. If you're like me and you're a bit of a knife snob, but you still like to use your stuff, this is a fantastic option. It's not crazy expensive. It's done in materials that are fairly robust. You're not, I don't feel like I've got to really baby this knife to keep from getting scratches or anything on it. That's one of the reasons that I'm not in love with Mokotai clips. Any really fancy clip makes me super nervous because this is the one part of the knife that's never protected. It's always sticking out of your pocket. So to me, the G10 version of this makes the most sense. So it essentially becomes sort of a user knife that still scratches that high-end, high tolerance, kind of itch that a lot of us knife guys have. And so for me, this really fits in a nice niche where I can feel a lot of pride of ownership. I think it's beautiful. It's got refinement. I can enjoy the action and get that excitement that you get from a really well-made knife. But I don't have to be afraid of using it. I don't have to be afraid of putting it in my pocket. I don't have to be afraid of carrying it, if I'm going to fire training or, if I'm doing something outdoors where, I could get a little bit of, scratching or something. So this is a really, really nice knife in terms of, delivering all that pride and interest, and it's beautiful and it's well made and all that good stuff, but you don't have to be afraid to use it. And so I really think this knife lands in a really cool spot for me as, sort of a high-end user. And that's where I think this knife really shines. It's for those of us who like the high-end stuff, but we also want a knife that we don't have to worry about carrying and using. And so well done, Massdrop. I think the price point is great. I think the construction is great. Obviously, we'll see how it holds up over, a month or two of use. And then I'll come back at you with the full review. So in order not to miss that, don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure if you want to buy one of these, you use my link down in the description box. That does help me out a little bit over at the channel and lets me get more stuff from Massdrop to review. Again, thanks for watching, and we will talk to you soon.